What's going on, guys? We're back here, Connor and Mark Show. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube page at Connor Mark Show and follow us on social media as well. Twitter, Instagram at Connor Mark Show. We are reacting to Game 5 loss for the 76ers. They were now down 3-2 in this playoff series against the Atlanta Hawks after one of the most ridiculous, unsettling, shocking games that we've seen from the 76ers team, probably in the past 20 to 30 years. Up 26 points in the second half, close to the fourth quarter, and they find a way to blow it down in Philadelphia. And now we're going down to Atlanta, Game 6, down 3-2, have to win the next two games to find a way to get out of this series. Obviously, it's a mess. Alongside Mark Rogers, I'm Connor Gay. We're here to break it down a little bit and give a little insight of our opinion about what happened. Also, a little bit of insight on Game 6 that will be being played Wednesday night. So tomorrow, we're recording this Tuesday, so tomorrow night will be Game 6. Mark, obviously it's a very shocking day, a little disappointing day in the city of Philadelphia after the game that we saw last night. I'll give my 2 cents on it because I have a lot to say. I got a chance to produce Bill Wendell's show today. He had D-Line on, and she gave good insight about what happened, obviously. But really, this is one of the shocking losses I've seen, not only in 76ers history, but in Philadelphia sports history. There's a lot that come to mind, I think, especially in my generation, seeing sports teams in 2011. We saw Game 5 with the Philadelphia Phillies after a dominant regular season, over 100 wins, and to face an inferior Cardinals team going Game 5 with Roy Halladay on the mound, and they've still lose 1-0. That was obviously one that comes to mind. The 2003 NFC Championship game, the last game in the vet against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And they lost that game, obviously the Eagles, and that's one of the losses that ring most in Philadelphia and people never forget. But this up here, Mark, is something that I think I'll never forget. A team that is obviously better than the Atlanta Hawks, up 26 points in the second half. Dominant performance at that point for Joel Embiid and Seth Curry. And they find a way to crumble it and throw it all away as they get beat by Trae Young, Lou Williams, and the Atlanta Hawks to go down 3-2. I'm disgusted. I'm sad. I'm furious to see where this team has gone, and it looks like they're on their way to get bounced once again in the second round, not make a conference final, which is what they were set on doing, obviously, this whole year, locking up a number 1 seed. And it's just obviously it's very disappointing and I'm angry and I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow with Game 6. I'm not confident. Obviously, like a lot of people in the city, they're not confident in what this team can do. We saw the makeup of them last night and see how they crumbled under the pressure of an inferior Hawks team. Like we've said multiple times throughout this series that this team is not that talented. They're young, they're inexperienced, and they're not as talented as the 76ers team. And to see them crumble this opportunity all away with a career year for Joel Embiid and a career year from Tobias Harris, and to see this could possibly end tomorrow night in a Game 6 in Atlanta is absolutely ridiculous. And that's my 2 cents on it. I'll let you take the floor from there, but that's all I gotta say. So,
I mean, real hot start there, punching the mic. But yeah, I mean, everything you said and more. I mean, this is looked at as, I know we were talking before, recording this, maybe the worst collapse here in Philadelphia history. And the reason I say that is just the amount of talent this team has, the ability and the skill that they possess and have shown, just makes this even more upsetting. I mean, let's go back to Game 4 and we'll start there. In Atlanta, they were in a similar situation. If you remember going up in half, I believe they were up by 22 at half. They were up over 20 at half, though, and they end up blowing it here. Obviously not to the degree that it really, went down last night. But in the third quarter of Game 4, they get outscored 31-20, and the Hawks carry that momentum right into the fourth and outscore them 23-18, and they're unable to close that one out. I felt coming Game 5 very confident, and they really showed that they collected themselves and seemed like they put that game behind them. And then again, find themselves in a similar situation, being up by 24 at half yesterday. And obviously we all know how that ended, but yeah, to your point, exactly, Connor, this is a very young, inexperienced Hawks team. That still has a lot of growing to do, but obviously when you let a guy like Trae Young, who can shoot from anywhere, get hot, he's going to take advantage of his opportunities, and he clearly did. Finish the game yesterday with 39 points, and really what is stunning to me is outside of Trae Young, I mean, they get 19 from Collins, they get 16 from Gallinari, and then, like you said, Lou Williams, the sixth man of the year, and probably should name the award after him because he was cooking in the second half as well. But then you got guys in their starting lineup like Capella with 6, Bogdanovich with 6, and Kevin Huerter with none. So
the Hawks did not win this game. I think 76ers obviously lost this game.
Exactly.
They did not have great games from other players. Only Lou Williams and Trae Young, really.
Yeah, exactly. And that's my point here. That's what makes it even more frustrating. I mean, they really don't get production of anyone outside of Trae Young. They let Trae Young once again, and I've been saying it all series, and I know it's very cliche and simple, but you let this team get momentum, you let this team get hot, especially a guy like Trae Young, he's going to win the game when he has the opportunity. And lastly, before I throw it back to you, was the crumbling under pressure. I mean, in the second second half, I believe the only field goals came from Embiid and Seth Curry. And, a lot of people, say, Ben Simmons haters and Ben Simmons this and Ben Simmons that. When it really comes down to it, he deserves a lot of the blame. He's looked upon as behind Joel Embiid, in my opinion, as the second best player on this team, 4 for 14 from the line, 8 points and 9 assists. I mean, you really need more from a big superstar like that. And, to have 37 from Embiid, who just was incredible, 8 for 8, and 36 from Seth Curry. I mean, someone's got to find a way to take the game over, step up to the plate when you really need it. And the biggest thing with this is the fourth quarter blown lead. They had multiple opportunities to cut back into this lead, really could not find a way. And at some point, I mean, obviously, I'm sure a lot of people felt like this, but at some point, this game was lost in the third or fourth, 3 or 4 minutes left in the game because the Hawks just had so much momentum. The Sixers couldn't find an answer for them at all.
Yeah, when you look at the rest of the starting lineup, like I say, Seth Curry, 36 points, was 7 for 12 from three-point range, had a great game. Embiid, obviously, even though he was a little slow in the fourth quarter, you could tell he was tired and sluggish. He still finished with 37, 13, and 11 from 13 from the line, 4 blocks, 2 steals. But, I mean, Tobias Harris, 4 points, 2 11 from the field. Really another bad performance from him, a guy, like a max player guy. Something you have to get more out of him in a situation like that, especially down the stretch when Joel Embiid's tired and he can't get a bucket. Ben Simmons, 8, 4, 9, not a good. I mean, he took 4 shots all game. He was 4 of 14 from the free throw line, and that's been a killer for the Sixers this postseason. Ben at the line, and obviously we saw Washington use the hack-a-Ben strategy, and that was more out of desperation, obviously last series because it was such a talent disparity between the Sixers and the Wizards. But we've seen the Hawks use it too, and I think 2 games in this series, it's really bitten them, in the behind about, Joel Embiid not Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons not being able to hit free throws, in clutch situations, especially in the second half. And now with that game, he's 4 for 14 from the line. That's what, let's say he hits half. That's a win right there because he missed 10. So let's say, because I know Doc, I believe, spoke with the media a couple weeks ago when people were starting to criticize Ben about his free throw shooting and in the postseason, especially in clutch situations. And he said, all I really need from him is half. Well, 4 of 14 ain't half. That's what? I'm not good at math. Probably like 30%, 35%.
I'm not a great math guy either, but I would say 35%.
Yes. If he hits half, I mean, he's let so many free throws at the line, and it's definitely hurt this team. It's undoubtedly put them in a really bad situation. Korkmaz, 8 points. I mean, he was okay. I mean, I don't know. I knew the Green injury. I think a lot of people were downplaying it, knowing how Green was playing before his injury, but I think that was a bigger injury than it was. I think it's giving Korkmaz more minutes, which is not a good thing. And Shake Milton came up small, 5 points. I mean, you got Thibault with 6. George Hill has been really underwhelming since them acquiring him at the deadline, and he's just not the same player they once was before. And Dwight Howard obviously had 8 rebounds, but didn't get any points. So other than Curry and Embiid, not a lot to be happy about, and it's just a disappointing performance. It really put this team in a really bad situation. Like I said, Lou Williams in that second half, he finished with 15. He was unbelievable, and I don't know. I find it hard to believe that the 76ers, one of the best defensive teams in the NBA, could not find a way to slow Lou Williams at this point of his career. I mean, he's not, I think, the player that he once was in his prime, but he's an older guy, and we've seen it throughout this series that he couldn't, score at the level that he once was. But like older guys tend to do, they'll find a game or two that they go off, look like them older self, and really help propel a younger team like that. And I don't know, it's just, I don't know where this team goes from here, and it's really going to be tough emotionally for the 76ers team to go down game 6 in Atlanta and will themselves to a win after being up 26 in game 5 and crumbling that lead and now being down 3-2. I think it's such a emotional, overwhelming situation. I just don't think they're going to be able to overcome that. And I think that they probably have their season end in Atlanta tomorrow night. And, maybe, they could still win this series, because if I think that they win a game 6, I still find it hard to believe they would lose a game 7 in Philly, even given the situation that we saw last night. I mean, I would really find it hard to believe that they could do that, even knowing what they did last night. I just can't see it. So, but it's gonna be hard to win a game 6 on the road, especially the morale of that locker room. I don't know. Doc Rivers, I know they brought him in, and he's really had his faults over the past couple of years with certain playoff situations, like the Clippers last year, and this team this year. He's really gonna have to work his magic here and try to get as much as he can out to Tobias Harris, as much as he can out of Ben Simmons, try and get a win down in Atlanta. I'm not confident about it. I know the line opened around like 3 points. The Sixers are favored. If I was a better, I'd definitely bet Atlanta to at least, cover the 3 points. But I don't know. I'm not confident about it, but I guess, anything you want to say on game 5 when we're moving to game 6?
Yeah, I mean, just in the regard to the Ben Simmons thing and the hack of Ben, I mean, we even saw at some point last night, I believe it was, third, it might have been fourth quarter, and they were really starting to cut into the lead at this point, maybe down 8 or 10 points, and the hack of Ben really looked like it was going to come to the forefront, force him to make free throws, and Doc Rivers was forced to take him out of the game. And to me, just looking at that, that's unacceptable if you're a player of Ben Simmons' skill level and regard. I know he's a great defensive player. I know he's unreal with passing and driving to the rim and stuff like that. But if you can't make free throws and you're leaving your team high and dry out there because you can't cash in on free throws, and clearly 4 for 14, as we just discussed, is not even close to acceptable. That's another issue I have with this team and have with the Ben Simmons, defensive fan club of he does this, he does that, he does this. Well, when your team really needs it and you've really got to lock down defensively and you can't make free throws and you're getting taken out of the game, I mean, it's just hard to really envision this team going into the Eastern Conference Final against a much, much better Nets team and potentially even going into the finals if they find themselves in that spot of really going deep. So I think a lot, and this goes kind of without saying, a lot of adjustments need to be made on the Sixers side. I got an interesting question for you before we do move on into game 6. And I guess this kind of segues into game 6. I know I've been really big on Thibault and possibly getting a look at the starting lineup. I don't think it's going to happen, but with Korkmaz in there, would you potentially think about putting Thibault in the starting lineup and maybe trying to shuffle it, get some momentum going, get something else going? Just because it's been so, I don't like Korkmaz in the starting lineup, so inconsistent.
I don't know. There's no good. That's the problem with Green being out. There's no good solution, I think. I think they like just the offense that Korkmaz brings, and he can be a little erratic at times, but at least he can knock down threes more consistently than a Thibault or a Shake Milton or even a Tyrese Maxey or a George Hill if you throw him in there. I probably won't do that. I just don't love Thibault's offensive game, and I think it may throw off the rotation of putting Thibault on Trae Young, and once Ben Simmons is off him for at least maybe toward the end of the first quarter. I think Doc Rivers likes doing that, and I actually think it's a smart idea, not having those guys out there too long, because it does affect them offensively. Korkmaz is obviously a liability defensively, but you're going to have to use it for spacing purposes, and that's the biggest thing, and that's the biggest reason with Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. You need spacing out there, you need shooters, and I don't know. I probably would not. I'm going to still roll with Korkmaz and see how it goes. There's not a good solution with this, but if Korkmaz is hitting at least 3 to 4 threes, 2 to 3 threes a night, and providing a little bit of spacing when he's in the starting lineup, I'm happy with that. But and also you can kind of hide him on defense too, especially when you have Ben Simmons, Harris out there, Embiid, so he's not too much of a liability out there when you can hide him, especially on a bad offensive player. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'd do that. But I mean, at this point, I don't really have a lot of hope going forward with this team. I don't know if there's going to be one solution to really fix the mentality or the mindset of this, squad going down to Atlanta.
Yeah, sorry, my mic was off. Yeah, and I just meant for momentum purposes or trying to switch it up. But I totally understand in the same way though.
I give Tyrod Maxey a lot of minutes.
Okay,
Game
I like that. I mean, he's an energy bug. He really gets his team going.
Yeah, I would not give whoever you got to feel it out with Hill and Milton, and whoever's not having a good game to start off. I give them a quick leash, and I'll throw Maxey out there. I'm gonna need something, so. I may throw Maxey out there, give him some minutes and see how he goes. And hopefully that gives him a little energy going forward. But I think at this point, you got to do everything you can. And I don't know. I understand Maxey maybe a little be too young for the moment, but at times throughout this playoffs, he has given the team energy and given a little bit of a spark. And after that shock that we saw last night, I think that's probably the best thing is I don't know. You're going to give him a lot of minutes and you got to feel him out and see how he's looking, how he's going. But I'd probably give Maxey at least like 12 to 15 minutes tomorrow. So that's what I do.
Yeah, I like that. And going in, I mean, I know we're going to talk here about game 6 and like you kind of just touched on, not a lot of hope here, but I think if they can somehow find an adjustment just because they are, with Embiid and how they match up in terms of obviously if they can lock down Trae Young and that's a big factor. I mean, I haven't lost all hope in this team. It's tough to say. I'm still kind of in shock from last night. But obviously, as we all are, yeah, obviously the line's set at -3. So the Sixers are still, have a chance.
They just want you to bet. They just want the money to go back towards Philly, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, go in terms of Vegas, but I'm not giving up on this team just yet, Connor. I know you're laughing at me. I know you don't think they have a shot tomorrow in hell.
I think they definitely have a shot to win tomorrow and win the series. I just don't have any confidence in them winning an Eastern Conference Final.
Moving forward, yeah. I mean, sticking on this right now, sticking on the game. I'm gonna go with the Sixers win tomorrow. I just have too much faith in this team. I just feel like with the 2 leads that they have had, it's obviously not worked out for them having that much, spread in the time they've had. I think if it's a closer game, and I know that sounds really crazy going into the fourth quarter, I think they're going to be a little more locked in. So I'm going to roll with the Sixers here, man. I think they're going to force a game 7 in Philly. And I think if they can get the game back to Philly, I think they're going to get their feet under them enough. And I really don't see them losing a game 7 in Philly. So I'm going to go Sixers tomorrow. Win, I'm going to go 112 to 108.
All right, I'm going to go Hawks. Obviously, you're a lot more confident than I am. I'm going to go Hawks, probably 110 to 106. So it'll be close. I don't think they'll.
We're both 4-point spreads.
Yeah, so I think that it'll be close. And it says, but the thing is, like, the trend is, if we're looking at the rest of the series, that close games have not favored the Sixers. Both their games have been blowout wins, especially them pulling away in the second half. But all the Hawks wins have been extremely close. Like game 1 was by 4, I believe. Game 4 was by 3, and then last night was by 3 as well. So they're all close games, and that speaks a lot about. And that shouldn't be the case because this Hawks team is extremely young. And they have not had a playoff experience compared to what the Sixers have had, even though it's not been a lot successful. But I mean, the Sixers have probably won over the past couple of years, maybe 3 playoff series, 4. So it's nothing compared to the Hawks. And to see them win these close games and this offense for the 76ers completely fall apart at the end of it and have no structure, no play runs, just a lot of ISO hero ball. Hope and Ben Simmons, this happens all the time. He just stands off in the corner because he knows he has nothing to contribute offensively in a half-court set because he knows that either I'm just going to dribble down, do a stupid dribble handoff, and that'll be the end of it, or I'll get fouled and go to the line and miss at least and maybe even hit 1 free throw. So I don't know. I don't have a lot of confidence, but watch out for Tobias Harris and Ben Simmons tomorrow, see how they react and how they bounce back. I'm confident Tobias Harris will bounce back. I think he'll come back and have a nice game. Not so confident about Ben at this point. I'm in my confidence at Ben is all-time low. I've never been pro Ben or anti Ben. I've acknowledged his flaws and seen obviously the positive that he brings to a team. But I think at this point, you have to acknowledge where Joel Embiid is at in his career, and you have to see the talent level he brings in the prime he is in his career at Daryl Morey. He has to see that. And if the Sixers lose tomorrow, it will be the last game Ben Simmons plays at the Sixers, so he'll be traded, in the offseason. So
That's a hell of a way to end the show.
Yeah, if that doesn't motivate him tomorrow, nothing will.
Mm-hmm.
This may be your last game, so you better go out there and as the Sixers, you better be, go out there, guns blazing with your ass on fire and get ready to go. So if that doesn't ready to go, then you don't have the build for this city. So that's all I'm saying.
The Connor Gabe pregame, maybe last game in a Philadelphia 76ers uniform speech. I think Sixers win tomorrow. I think that just got to Ben Simmons, and I think Sixers are going to be coming back here for a game 7. But definitely tune in on Saturday My bad, I got you off. It's just I was just going to say, tune in on Saturday to see what happens, and we'll definitely be reacting, whether it's obviously happy or sad. I mean, this was a tough show to do today. I did not really want to talk about what happened last night.
Saturday. We'll wear all black in honor of the funeral if they lose game 6. But if they win game 6, we'll be rocked out in Sixers gear.
Exactly. So tune in. Most definitely. We might get a little live stream going. We'll show you.
Maybe. We'll definitely have a picture up on social media. So absolutely. So so make sure you follow us on social media. Connor and Mark Show, Twitter, Instagram. Also subscribe to our YouTube page here to keep up with all our videos as well. Pose a question to you guys on social media. What do you guys think about Sixers' chances going down in Atlanta game 6? And also make sure you tune in this Saturday, Connor and Mark Show. We'll be talking Sixers, where the series with the Hawks currently stands. A little bit of Phillies, a West Coast trip, and also the U.S. Open. It's underway today. We're recording this Thursday, and we'll be on Saturday. That's when we'll really be heating up down and on the West Coast, and we'll be talking about that and maybe giving out some favorites.
In La Hala.
I know, a lot.
That's where it is, La Hala, California.
So it's going to be in Torrey Pines. It's going to be great to talk about that as well. So Connor and Mark Show will be back again.